Okay, so I'm looking at the different houses now. Let's have a look at what's been going on where you are now, what's coming up at the more month by month level. Sixth house, health, duty, service, responsibility for others, hygiene, diet. Far as I can see, your physical health is actually not too bad. With Uranus trining your Pluto, and Saturn trining your Pluto over the coming 12 months, I'm not worried about your physical health over the coming 12 months. Mental health, you may be worried about it, I'm not. With that Mercury opposite Saturn, you're going to keep your marbles till the day you drop. And when they put you in that box and bury you, the marbles are going to try and get back out. I'm not worried about your mental health. Emotional health, actually, that's pretty good too. I know you've got the Moon square Chiron, but at this time, the aspects to your Moon are generally favourable. I'm not seeing any problems around health, physical, mental or emotional health over the coming 12 months. If you have children, well, I don't think you're going to have any problems with kids at the moment. Next year, with Saturn opposite your Venus, you might find that certain issues around children do surface, but not in a way that's likely to cause long-term problems. And it's only stuff that comes about every 7 years. It's only Saturn, which when you get older, you can say it's only Saturn. Fourth house stuff, residence, home, location, property issues. Well, at the moment, with Jupiter leaving your fourth house, stuff around residence and location seems fairly stable. I mean, if you own your own home, or if you're in a long-term place where you can stay comfortably for the foreseeable future, I have to say there's a really good case for saying if it's working, don't fix it. Especially with Neptune coming up to square your Sun next year, I don't think it's a good idea for you to consider moving home. Third house stuff, brothers and sisters. Now here's a bit of a problem. If you don't have siblings, then I'm looking at stuff around people who act as brother or sister, and if you do have siblings, then it's a bit like chalk and cheese. There's not a lot in common, and next year particularly you may find there's a degree of uncertainty, and I'm not asking you to be suspicious, I am asking you to be cautious in your dealings with siblings next year, i.e. don't lend or borrow any money with them. Financially, your personal resources, well, ruled by the Moon, the second house in your chart is in a fairly safe space. I'm not seeing any reason for your personal financial situation to be challenged at this time or over the coming year, and there may actually be significant changes for your financial situation later in the year. I'll look at this more when I come to talk about Jupiter in a bit. But I can't see you ending the year in a more challenged financial situation than you are now, and I would expect your finances to be slowly, steadily growing over this year, I think. The relationship you have with yourself, the aspects to your ascendant are generally favourable this year. There is going to come a bit of a surge when Mars hits your ascendant. That's going to be the time around, Mars will actually land on your ascendant around the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th of June, your birthday, just after your birthday. That's going to really launch you into something big time. That's a really positive time. Saturn will oppose your ascendant next year. So I do suspect that your address book is going to get a lot thinner next year. But those people that do pass the bullshit filter test are going to become more substantial and more meaningful, even though the numbers may be fewer. I don't need to comment on the 12th house. You've got the Sun there. You're fine with that. Community, group, social life, friend. With Uranus in your 11th house now, the whole idea of tribe and community is an area that's going through big revolution, but generally healthy. And I think the more unusual and odd people are coming into your life, the healthier you are. The only thing you can't do is boring, normal, routine people. That doesn't work. Career. Now, you're the same age as me, so I don't know if you're working full time. especially with Neptune having just finished on your midheaven, seeing the dissolving and the releasing of a lot of old situations around work, and now over the coming 12 months, with Uranus opposite your Neptune for the next year, and Saturn sextiling your Neptune for the next 9 months, it does seem as if new windows of opportunity, new areas, new doorways are opening for work, and this has to be seen as a favourable year, not for doing anything that you've done before, but for breaking the mould, throwing it away, reinventing yourself, beginning again, expanding on what you've been doing, but not doing it in the same way, embracing the future in your existing work patterns, bringing a degree of both revolution and structure at the same time, changing your boundaries from concrete and steel into transparent rubber and elastic. Travel over the coming 12 months, I'd be surprised. I'm not seeing a lot of travel over the coming year. I don't think that's a big deal. And one-to-one relationships, I don't know if you're single or partnered, but certainly 2018 is going to be a big year as far as relationship patterns go. Now, looking over this next year, not so much in terms of a day by day, but in terms of the major transits from Mars outwards, there's certain times that will jump. We've already mentioned Saturn. Jupiter, for example, is going to make one really big aspect later this year. It's going to oppose your moon. And that by extension, that also means it's going to square your Chiron. So, the times when this happens later this year, Jupiter will square your Chiron in the very first few days of December. And if you're going to sabotage yourself or shoot yourself in the foot, this is when it will be. But then Jupiter opposes your moon over the period of the 6th through to the 10th of December. This is an excellent time for holiday, treating yourself, indulgence, and also for broadening and expanding your financial options, I think. Over this coming year, with Mars in your 11th house now through to the end of the month, it does seem as if this month is actually a very good time for embracing and working with community, although Mars does hit your moon on March the 27th, so a couple of days before that, forewarned is forearmed. In April, Mars is spending most of the time in your 12th house. Not too worried about this, you are going to be spending more time on your own. But in May, Mars hits your Sun, and then in June, Mars hits your Ascendant. So I expect the more you get into May, the more you're going to find that your physical energy levels are really picking up again. And from mid-June, June the 10th onwards, your get up and go and drive is full on. June is seen as being a very fortunate month. July, again, Jupiter trines your Sun on July the 21st. The progressed moon sextiles your Sun on July the 22nd. I have to call this period of, say, July the 15th to July the 25th as one of the most positive times of the year, if not the most positive time. Please take chances at that time. During August, it's all about resources and movement. Quiet though. September, busiest month of the year. All about movement at the day-by-day level. A little bit fractious in the first week of September, so count to 10. But the more you get into the end of September, the more affairs concerning residence, property and home begin to impinge upon you, which will last until early November. But no problems here. Jupiter's very favourable for you in October, working from the 5th house, so creative output is good. And this continues into November, particularly over the period of the 15th to the 25th of November, with Jupiter trining your Venus and trining your midheaven. Excellent opportunities. December is all about creativity, and as you get into the new year, so you're brewing with Saturn beginning to start playing with you. Saturn opposes your ascendant on January the 23rd, and from then on, one-to-one situations are going to build and prosper. Right, I'll get this across to you. I hope this has been helpful. Any questions, drop me an email, and if it takes 5 minutes, I'll answer it free of charge. Thanks, Catherine. Bye.